Talking with Paul, I did come up with a then and now flight for you guys. John already tried it. I think he's still in his fields. There he is. So I got and I know you guys might be like, Beam White Label, like what the fuck are you doing to us? But it's Beam White Label. I got 1968 Beam White Label. It's got a 5-year age statement on it versus today's Beam. So it's 2 half-ounce pours to kind of compare them. $15 for that, all right? And I guarantee you, right?
Yep.
It's going to put you in your feelings. It absolutely will. I highly recommend you try the current era Beam first, and then try the 68 Beam. And it will absolutely blow your minds. I think John can vouch for me. So, but we have tons of other stuff. I think the oldest bottle we got is from 55. It's a 55 Old Fitz. So that's just a Weller juice, distilled in 55, bottled in 61. But then we got stuff, from that all the way up to current era. So guys, have fun. Feel free to be rowdy. Not going to offend anybody.
No one ever knows about this. So if you ever meet someone from Boston, they have a chip on their shoulder, as they should. Because whenever you get the high up reps down there, I love Claremont. Have you ever been to Boston? They say, no, it's like, well, because of them, we all have jobs. Like, that's the truth. So, anyways, Jacob Beam, who's from Pennsylvania, Maryland area, to Kentucky after the American Revolution. Gets his 400 acres of land. He was a distiller, but a miller by trade originally. Distilling was really basically how he preserved his grain. Came to Kentucky. 1795 is kind of where we do our founding. That was not here in Claremont. All right, it would have been over in Hardin County. We get here after Prohibition, or I guess right before Prohibition, right? He has 9 kids. One of them was David Beam. David Beam's biggest accomplishment for the family, getting us on the column still. Anyone know the difference between the column and the pot still? Has anyone been to like Woodford or Willett yet? We did. Yeah. Right, or anyone ever spent time in Scotland or Ireland? A little pot still. We do everything on the column still. Continuous distillation. Call it a column still because, well, it looks like a column, right? So all the stills we have around here are column stills. Come on in, gentlemen. I'm probably the closest thing you'll find to a new balloon around here. You got kind of tasted bean products. That's actually our yeast strain shining through. That's kind of where that's coming from. Just to give you an idea of what the jug yeast really tastes like. You ever had Guinness? Imagine a Guinness really, really chunky. I mean, consistency. So the flavor is not bad. Texture, not so much. But the whole point of Cadillac is to show you that Jim would drive his yeast to a Brahmart. There's actually a yeast jug in the passenger seat. It's the 1930s and 40s, refrigeration wasn't widely available. Right? Today, we keep it in like 5 undisclosed locations, and I'll show you where we make it. That's just a thing for general consumers to know. Right? And everybody knows how politics works. You go lobby to the politicians, and then they make you scratch your back, you scratch your back. Lumber lobby goes to Roosevelt and says, hey, your prohibition's over. You're making alcohol again? Don't let them recycle their barrels. Only allowed to use a barrel one time, you'll create more jobs. That has nothing to do with your flavor. You can actually reuse that and still just get good flavor as you want it to. That is 100% a political hit job from the 1930s. But my entire life, I thought I had to do with flavor. And of course, you know the following standards go with the tap decision. 51% corn to beef bourbon, industry standard, much higher. Every bourbon that we have has a purpose. The point of basil is 80 proof. It's always meant to be approachable. So, I mean, does everyone drink usually above 100?
Yeah.
All right. Imagine driving a Harley and then having to go put your training wheels back on. That's essentially what going back to basil would be like. This is 80 proof. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me put it this way. If I'm going to the lake,
It's smooth.
exactly. I'm drinking this all day because I'm not going to get drunk. I'm going to put this on cornflakes. Right? Now, something if I had a rough day, something like Booker's or Baker's, 2 glasses of that, I'm good to go.
There you go.
Right? But the point of this is always to be approachable. It's to get more people into bourbon. Right? If you say like, hey, try this Knob Creek single barrel and one of your buddies has never had bourbon, 120 proof, they're probably going to cough. They're probably going to be, I'm good, man. Now, this is going to range between 121 to probably about 131 proof. This barrel is October 24th, 2012. It's an older barrel. Knob Creek single barrel is at least 9 years old. Always proof down to 120. So basically, this is not the same barrel you're going to get over there, but they ran a line to this. They probably all of a sudden age. Whoa, we're about to get down here. You got enough? Char's being held back. That's going down to its history thing. It's coming over here to the bottling line. So, about to take y'all over there and about to fill us some bottles. Okay, do it. It's a full-on bottling line. This does strictly Knob Creek single barrel. They'll do about 30 bottles a minute tops. The ones upstairs, J-Line, can do about 200 bottles a minute.
6 years. 6 years.
Perfect. You rent your bottle out of that
I was a supervisor. Like in here? Seems like you guys have a good time. Good atmosphere.
Yeah, oh yeah. You would think it might get a little old doing the same thing. It's like everybody's excited to do this.
The first BBR3 off the line, you know what I'm saying?
On site. Warehouse of this size will hold about 20,000 barrels. The ones they built now that are 7 can hold about 60,000 barrels. Actually, a really good question. So, 1, uniform. 2, is going to absorb more heat. 3, you come to distilleries, you have large amounts of alcohol sitting. Those alcohol vapors, angel share, has sugars in there. It's going to produce a black fungus. It's going to turn black anyway.
But where do you guys rank as being, like, distillery-wise? As far as in Kentucky.
Sales or?
Oh,
No, I'm just saying, like, what do you think?
I mean, again, in terms of like true competition, it'd be us and Heaven Hill.
Okay.
But
what you
that's just
think.
like for production. I
Okay.
mean, yeah. I mean, Sazarak's building another still at their place, but like in production wise, like
You guys are killing them.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing you're always going to see about the Beam family. Whether it's a product or a building or anything, right? It's all about honoring those that came before them, right? That's one of the coolest things ever. So we come in here, talk a little bit about some of the brand products. These were given as gifts. When Booker was down the Boston plant during the holidays, he'd batch his own bourbon, put it in old wine bottles, so we get the design from, put a handwritten note on there, dip it in a crock pot full of wax, give it out instead of like fat nasties and candy canes. He'd give it out to friends,
family, liquor reps, liquor store owners. Right? It wasn't until the mid-'80s corporate heard about this and said there may be a market for this. Booker was like, okay, okay, maybe. Right? Today, we're in the midst of the bourbon boom. Right? People will have bourbon-scented toilet paper. Right? They would buy that. Right? I mean, 100%. You gotta think in the mid-'80s, most people are drinking gin and vodka. Most people aren't drinking bourbon. Right? So to come out with a barrel proof, which is, it's gonna be hot, you know, it is kind of groundbreaking. Booker really loved bourbon. He really wanted other people to love bourbon. He didn't think it was fair that other distillers were proofing it down to 80 to 90 proof, maybe 100 tops, right? He thought the consumer should have that power. Now, for the most part, when you see a product that's barrel proof, you're like, oh, cool, it's cask strength. Like, hadn't had any water added to it. Like, I'm drinking alcohol or whiskey in the purest form. That wasn't the original intent for it, though. He drank his. If anyone buy the batch of Bookers that just came out? It's called the Kentucky Tea Batch.
Okay.
Right? The idea of that is Booker would get like a mason jar, fill it halfway with water and the other half with Bookers. So you're taking something that's barrel proof that could be 123 to 130-ish proof, and now you've cut it down to a level that you want. It's the first time ever a master distiller gave the power to the consumer to do that. Right? So like that's the whole point of Bookers. You're getting bourbon in the purest form, and then you can drink it at whatever proof you want. Now, again, it's about $120 a bottle now. So, you know, if you're going to mix it with something, that's up to you. Now, when I came home about 2 months ago, my wife was having a rough day, and I noticed she was taking the rest of my Bardstown batch and mixing it with ginger ale. I didn't want to lose an argument, so I just decided, to let it be. I was like, babe, I don't mind if you do that, but if you don't mind, like maybe we do that with like the Jim Beam Black or Knob Creek. Just because that's $130. They said, well, I had a really rough day. I was like, okay, you know what? I know what it's like here, right? So, no, but I mean, that's the thing. One person asked Booker one time, said, what would you do if someone mixed this with Coca-Cola? He said, be the best damn bourbon and Coke you'd ever have. All right? So that's the thing about Bookers. That's what's so great about Bookers. So you ever get a batch, I think we're all now around the U.S., some of y'all are going to get more allocation than others. But that's kind of the coolest thing about Bookers. It comes off the still at 125, goes in the barrel at 125, depending where it's going to go. It could be 123 to 130. It's just right there in the middle of a rick house. So not a lot it's going to gain proof, but sometimes it is. I think when you look at our portfolios, we kind of have a bourbon for every type of drinker. And our philosophy is we're extending the table. We're not trying to cut the table short. We're not trying to say, oh, we're at this amount, you can't afford our bourbon, or we only have this amount, you can't get it. We really try to make our prices affordable, right? And we do really try to make it available. If we don't, it really is because we just don't have enough juice, right? But like our idea is to extend the bourbon table, right? And I think one of the coolest things about our portfolio is you have really good stuff that you don't have to spend a lot of money for. I also think we have a lot of sleeping giants. Something like an old Granddad 114, right? Now, if y'all are ever going home and doing a tasting, I recommend you set it up very similarly. We're going in proof order, all right? So we go the lowest proof to highest proof. The reason for that is we start with like Bookers, barrel proof, and I try to take it down to basil. What I tell the analogy earlier, right? It's like having a Harley and then going back to your training wheels. Right? It'll also burn your palate.
Yeah. Good. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Making bacteria which can make off notes like really hot pepper, like kind of just like super spicy, which is interesting because as it ages, people tend to think some of that could be like rye spice.
Right. Yeah. Right.
They're very closely tied, but if you taste a lot, you can pick up on those elements.
Oh, wow. Don't pull that blend or anything.
We will, but it's like a special barrel.
no. Yes and no. So that's actually part. So that's the whole reason you refine it. You talk about moonshine.
They put everything.
Exactly.
They run everything, right?
Exactly. So you're making like moonshine. Usually you don't have a doubler. It's the first round distillation. That's why we have to do that second round of distillation to get your heads and tails out.
Get the master.
Yeah, that's right. That's pulling out those methyl carbamate. It's like pulling all that out.